Afternoon, where the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee of the National Assembly has been conducting a hearing on the state of the IEBC and the pursuit to remove 4 independent electoral and boundaries commissioners. I do understand as Azimio leader Raila Odinga is now speaking to the press on the same. Let's cross over and listen in.
Vindictive and vile. It must stop. It will not end well. End of the statement. Thank you. Now, I have with me here my other colleagues, and I want to invite them to say a few words, because we're dealing with a very monumental issue, a matter of grave national importance. Where we are standing on a precipice. And as I've mentioned in my statement, Kenyans will not take this lying down. Maybe we want to start with Professor.
But the thing was so good, you didn't want anything.
I really don't have much to add to what His Excellency, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga has said, except to say that what we witnessed today at JLAC is a microcosm of what the UDA regime is doing and is prepared to do in this country, which is to cannibalize and to destroy the institutions of democracy so that it can husband all power in this country. I think this is just the opening act of a very long play that they are putting in place. You've seen what they have been doing with the parliament, trying to buy off members of parliament and senators to bring them to their side, to silence them, so that there is no oversight. But what we saw today was a slaughterhouse that is being prepared for the 4 commissioners who bravely stood for justice and for a free and fair election. Isn't it really ironic that the one person whom the Supreme Court found to be liable for offenses in the election, Wafula Chebukati, the Supreme Court said this itself, is not a person who is being investigated by this Committee of Parliament. It is the 4 commissioners who stood in the breach at the hour of need for this country. So what we saw there is a sham. We saw a chairman who has a script and who is an autopilot and who is determined to conclude this process very quickly, despite the objections of the members of the committee. I should note that, in my view, the most important thing that happened there were the objections raised by the lawyers for the 4 commissioners. And principally, the objection of jurisdiction, that JLAC lacks the jurisdiction to call those commissioners there to investigate them, because it is not the proper forum for that particular purpose. Secondly, that the allegations that are made against them cannot be interrogated because they are based on an affidavit that was sworn by Mr. Chebukati. Mr. Chebukati himself is not available for cross-examination, and so that process would turn out to be a sham. We've said before that, and we warned Kenyans ahead of the election, that the UDA party would, if elected, seek to install a dictatorship in this country. And I think what we are seeing is simply a coming to fruition of that prediction that we made. But as the Right Honorable Raila Odinga has said, Azimio is not going to permit this to happen. We are not going to lie down and let this happen to the people of this country. As we said, at a time of great national peril, when there is no food, when there's insecurity, when the economy is in a free fall, the thing that the UDA regime wants to do is to go on a witch hunt, to investigate and to persecute individuals who have stood for democracy in this country. So with those few remarks, I simply want to say that we are not going to relax. We are going to ask our supporters in the near future to stand with us to stop this regime from carrying out these dictatorial acts. Thank you so much.
Very briefly, to remind William Ruto, he is acting outside of the law. The Commission Act clearly says 6 months to the end of the term of the chairman, a selection panel must be formed to start the journey of finding the new chair. Chebukati's term ends in January. And instead of forming a panel, William Ruto is busy trying to have the act amended so that he can have a selection panel that will create a commission after his own heart. The commission is for all Kenyans, not for one person. He must be compelled to move to appoint a selection panel. And Chebukati, Gulie, and Molu should already be on leave, on terminal leave. It should have started on the 1st of November. They insist on illegally presiding over a by-election in order to give us convoluted results, like they gave us convoluted results of the general election. We will not tire to remind Kenyans that if we drop our vigilance, we are in for a ruthless dictator than we have ever seen and than that has not been witnessed in this region. We are therefore saying time is up. Let's have a panel for selecting another 3 commissioners of the IEBC, and let the commissioners whose term is unexpired take over IEBC. This witch hunt in Parliament is intended to prevent the 4 commissioners, and especially the deputy chair, from taking over as provided by the law. It is totally a travesty of justice. And once again, let Kenyans of goodwill stand together to stop this. And just if we were to accept their convoluted figures, may they remember that according to their figures, 6.9 million Kenyans do believe that the 4 commissioners who are a majority stood for what is right, and that the 3 commissioners led by Chebukati are the rogue commissioners who happily, whose term has ended. They should go home and let Kenyans move forward with commissioners selected from among people of integrity to lead this nation to the next phase. We want to encourage the 4 commissioners to act within the law. They are the majority. They should do what is right for this country. Thank you.
Yes. In fact, I wanted to reserve my comments after listening to what my colleagues here, led by Brother Raila, have said. But perhaps to summarize it, impunity, politically motivated persecution of the commissioners, and we've just come from County Hall. We sat there to observe the goings-on of this JLAC committee, and it's very sad. When we left, they retreated to go and decide whether they're jurisdiction or not. You see people following a script. I once read a book, it was based in South Africa, and apartheid. The chief character was Kumalo. Cry, my beloved country. Why in the world would we want to heap more hurt and despair to a population that is already reeling under the weight of drought, compounded by GMO politics, GMO, without any public participation? And here I want to thank the Catholic Church for beginning to show leadership. We're not going to kill our people through GMO. And I think as Kenyans, we are very good at forgetting things very fast, but how do we forget about that which is going to kill us with cancer? Ugonjwa wa saratani. Kwa hivyo, mimi naona tu nisiongee zidi ya hayo. I don't like things that are politically motivated. And therefore impeachments, Kenyans, remember, politically motivated impeachment at the Senate, and this is what is being worked out. I want to urge the committee of JLAC to stand as a different committee, believing in the rule of law, fair justice, administrative justice, and we all belong in this country. In fact, the country is beginning to get together. But it looks like our friends want to take Kenyans back to the streets. Kenyans would have wanted a peaceful Christmas. But why are you doing this to our country? Cry, my beloved Kenya. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Right, those are Azimio leaders right there speaking out against the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee of the National Assembly hearings that are ongoing that will decide the fate or are meant to decide the fate of 4 IEBC commissioners. They have termed the proceedings illegal, with Kalonzo also weighing in on the GMO issue. Going to take a short break. When you come back, we'll have more for you here on News Desk. Do stay tuned.